Welcome to the Business of Beauty, where we help beauty entrepreneurs in building their business and reaching their dreams. This is your host, David Lee. Our guest today does all things skincare, from peels, facials, a hydro-dermabrasion, LED, microchanneling, as well as selling their popular cold rollers and the perfect fancy towels. She is in the 9th year of her business and has the superpowers of not staying still, always moving forward, creating new, fun, and exciting things for the skincare community and for herself. Welcome to the show, Casey Boone at Glow Skincare.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. So let's dive right in. So tell us a little bit more about Glow Skincare. What do you do, and what does the business have to offer?
Okay, so I opened Glow Skincare like you had mentioned about 9 years ago. It was
Quite impressive.
Thank you so much. I've been in the industry for 14 years. So after 5 years as working for an esthetician, I decided I wanted to open my own spa. So when I first started, I wanted full service, spray tans, waxing, massage, all that fun stuff. And as the years have gone on, I've niched it down. So we're mainly like 95% skincare, focusing a lot on anti-aging, acne. Like I said, one of my favorite and most popular treatments is the Hydro-dermabrasion. And after Glow started to gain popularity, I decided to take things a step further, and that's when I created the Glow Skincare Cold Roller and the Perfect Facial Towel, which is created for other estheticians in the industry, because I was basically looking for a towel that covered the face, neck, and décolleté.
Nice. And when did you create those products?
The cold rollers I created about 2 years ago, and the Perfect Facial Towel has been out for maybe about 6 months.
Nice. So is this, so this is something where you found like, you know what, I could really use something like this, and that's how you kind of created it, and then you realize, wait a minute, I think there's a market for this.
Exactly. So I created it for, my spa, for me and my estheticians at Glow, and then thought, well, why not, share it with all the other estheticians in the world.
Nice.
Yeah.
Now, are you actively pushing that product line? Do you have it on your the same site, or do you plan on kind of branching off in a separate, almost like a separate brand for it, targeted for other estheticians?
I've gone back and forth. Right now, everything, when you go to Glow Skincare's website or you go to the Instagram, there's a little bit of everything. You can book a facial. I give a lot of like skincare tips. I give a lot of business tips. You can also buy a cold roller. So I have it all in one easy place for everyone to find.
Yeah.
Maybe one day do I branch off and do individual things? Possibly, but right now it's working for me to kind of bundle everything together. I also have my own podcast that I do with a friend of mine, Lorraine Ashmore. It's called Beauty Biz BFFs. So that's where we do all of our business tips for estheticians. Right now it's kind of all bundled together.
Okay. Now, I'm just out of curiosity, would your end client, like the clients that you're servicing now at your practice, would they buy the rollers, or is it more focused for the estheticians?
No, they do. The cool thing about the business and the products is I sell them in store, I'm selling them online, and then again, I'm selling them to other estheticians like at wholesale. So it's kind of, we got all the different aspects going on.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now, where do you see your business taking off, next few years? Especially, let's take a step back. How are you handling the whole COVID situation right now?
It's been pretty crazy. It was definitely really hard to decide to close down, not only for myself, but for my other estheticians who, their main way to make money is seeing clients.
Yep.
So we've really had to kind of change direction. Lots of online skincare consults, like lots of selling products online.
Yeah.
So we basically turned everything online. Obviously we can't give facials right now, but just, assisting our clients more and more with like the proper products and how to use them at home. So that we do a lot of online sales.
So do you foresee, once the lockdown is over and everyone's kind of slowly getting out of their house, right? do you still foresee, okay, there's still going to be a lot of virtual consultations, there's still going to be a lot of online sales, and do you plan on kind of leveraging that more so, especially in the beginning? Because I'm guessing even with, if the lockdown's over, people are still afraid, right, of leaving the house.
Yeah. I mean, I was leveraging it before the corona, so I feel like I put myself in a really good situation. Obviously, I had no idea something like this was going to happen. So I once that happened, I changed all of my focus onto online sales. And I think, like you said, when we go back to quote unquote like normal life and open our doors to clients, I think we're still going to have a lot more online consultations, a lot more like just a bigger virtual presence.
Yeah.
Now,
so can you, so now, okay, with that, what's your plan for the next, 3, 5, even 10 years out, or the next 9 years out? Right?
It's so funny. I get asked this question all the time. I really, if you'd asked me that 5 years ago, I wouldn't tell you that I'm here now. What I would say is to continue to glow as a whole. That means my estheticians that work for me getting busier, making more money. That means selling more products. That means getting my name out there more. Like I said, I have my Beauty Biz podcast. And we started to get some momentum with some speaking engagements. Nice. Now with Corona, that all fell apart. So I'm hoping I feel like I just want everything to elevate to the next level. I want to keep growing. I want more brand awareness and be able to help more estheticians and more people with their skin.
Okay. Now let's talk a little bit more on the marketing side, and it's pretty interesting. So you have a podcast. What does a podcast focus on? Helping estheticians? Right?
Yeah, so it's me and another esthetician. We're both licensed estheticians. She focuses more on lashes. I'm more skin. We came together, created this podcast. And it's just like the ins and out of the beauty industry, obviously, or not obviously, but a lot of people in the beauty industry don't always share a lot of information. And we kind of wanted just to change the narrative on that, So really it's just sharing our experiences and our opinion.
Okay, nice. And how has like the feedback been for the show? Like how, has it affected or impacted your business in any positive way too?
Absolutely. It's funny that you're saying that because we just put out a new episode that went out today, and it was all about indirectly affecting your business. So, as like an esthetician, a lot of us are used to doing a simple transaction. Get a facial, and then you hand me $100, end of story. I have cash in hand, right?
Yeah.
But there's so many other ways to indirectly boost your business as a whole. So when I started the podcast, I wasn't thinking about that, but that it has brought more awareness to me as an esthetician and my brand.
Yeah.
Am I getting like an even transaction? Probably not, but I do notice just the business growing as a whole.
Oh, nice. Through this, I'm just curious, have you built like more relationships, with your guests? Like strategic alliances? I know on this particular show, I've made new friends, and I've built more, relationships, and we're already talking about different things that we can do, together. So things like that. I'm just curious on your podcast if it works the same way.
Absolutely. I mean, we've met so many people that I would have, that I always dreamed of meeting or hoped to meet, and just to get a different perspective, because every business owner goes through something different, has something amazing to say. So I feel like not only has it been amazing for my audience, but it's been so eye-opening, and I've learned so much for myself, and the connections have been incredible. Like, we've made connections from years ago, and now they're calling us back to do stuff with all this coronavirus craziness.
Yeah. Now for our, our audience that's watching the show right now, would you recommend like, hey, go start, a podcast, or go start, YouTube, or start, some sort of show? Would you recommend that for them?
I think there's so many factors. I think if you're passionate about that and you have something specific you want to share, then yes. I wouldn't just tell everyone start a podcast, start a
Yeah.
YouTube because it looks fun, because I'm sure, as you know,
It's a lot of work.
people just think I'm sitting here talking, but there's so much behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I think you really need to like have a purpose, have a why, and something you really want to share. But if you're in that position where maybe you've already grown your beauty business and you're ready to take it to the next level, then absolutely. But no, it's another full-time job.
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like you want to pretty much have established business first, right? And then if there's something that you can share or something that's very niche, right? Just don't get too broad. Then consider one of the mediums, right? Like podcasting or YouTube, right? At that point.
Right.
Got it.
Yes, it's like one at a time, one step at a time. I think it's great to have all these different visions and goals, but be like super strategic and specific about what you're going to do.
Yeah. So, so it's, when I first, saw your I guess your info that came in, like, oh, wow, you've been in business for 9 years. It's awesome. That means you have a lot of wisdom to share, right?
Hopefully.
In the past 9 years, right? Especially like a lot of our viewers, they're thinking about starting their business or they're in their first 2 years. What are some of the things that you would say, or even like, let's say you jumped in a time machine and you went back 9 years, and what would you tell your younger self, right? What are some of the things that you would do differently or maybe the same?
I mean, there's so many things that I do differently, and so many things. I would never change my journey. I'd say, have a game plan, be prepared for the unexpected, because no matter what you prepare for, there's going to be unexpected things that come up, expenses that you're not expecting. Make sure, if you are a business owner and you're working with other people, that you are good with people and that you like people and that you
how do you know that? How do you know if you're good with people? we need more details here.
I mean, I think you need, what I always do and what I always tell people is, I always try and put myself like in my customer or my client's shoes. Like, sometimes people come to me with a concern with their skin or concern with the service or whatever it may be. I really try and put myself in their shoes, look at their perspective, instead of just, lots of times business owners get too caught up in like the finances. Is this making sense? It's just like a transaction, but I really try to take care of the people the way that I would want to be treated. Did I always do that? Probably not, because I was very, very young when I opened my business. But now I do my best to just treat people the way I want to be treated. It's not simple, but it's a lot of work.
And on that note, I would say that is the one big advantage that small business owners have over like the big box, corporations. They're really cold and they're trying to be warmer, but sometimes they just can't because they have so many locations, so many people, and they don't treat the business as their own. Whereas a business owner or the entrepreneur, they're still close enough to that.
Yes.
And also on another note that you mentioned, I hear a lot of business owners say, oh, you know what? I don't like my boss, so that's why I'm starting a business. I don't recommend that, because if you can't deal with other people, since you mentioned, how important it is to like be able to communicate and work with other people. Imagine not having one boss, but every customer is your boss. So what? Are you going to get angry at every one of your customers, right? That won't work. You're at that point, you're better off working for someone else, finding another boss that kind of jives better with you. So don't try to start a business because you don't like your boss.
I agree 100%. Yes, because not only are your clients your boss, but if you decide to have employees, they're your boss too. In the way.
You're like the last to get paid, right?
I'm the last to get paid. I cater to them. I want to take care of them. I usually am like last on the list. I think people have this perception that I'm the business owner. I can do whatever I want.
I wish, right?
Completely opposite of that.
Yeah, exactly. I love it. So is there anything else you would recommend to someone that's starting off?
What I always tell, like I do some individual coaching with people, and what I always tell people if they are thinking about starting is you literally just need to write down like what your goal is. If you want to have like your own skincare studio with X amount of rooms and you want to offer all these services, and then you're going to work backwards. How are you going to get there? Do you have the money? Do you need to start saving money? So I'm into like just writing lists and then just checking all the things off that you need.
Yeah. Now, so let's dive a little deeper, if you don't mind, on that piece right there. So let's say someone is interested in getting into skincare, for example. Would you recommend, okay, you know what is the closest or best retail space I can find, and I'll just go do a 3-month contract and take that space? Or would you recommend other options, like maybe working on a shared space, having at least 3 months or 6 months in savings? Like, what are some of the metrics you would say that a new business owner should have that's considering starting a skincare business?
Okay, so I'm going to take it back like a step even further, like a new business owner. If you are an esthetician or just like a beauty professional and you're just out of school or you're just wanting to start, I highly recommend go work for someone else. Go learn every part of the industry. That's what I personally did. I worked as a receptionist as a spa. I worked as an assistant. I worked as an esthetician. I really kind of worked my way through the food chain. Then once you're ready to jump off on your own, what I would recommend is to start by renting a room in another salon or spa, or like one of those salon suites. I feel like that's like the first step before you're committed to
like baby steps.
Baby steps, that's what I did. I rented a room in a salon and spa, and then it doesn't feel as overwhelming, but you're kind of getting your bearings at working for yourself.
Yeah, I love it. So can you share a little bit more on that? So it's your first year. What was that like, your first year?
My first year, I was very, very young, and I was working in a women's gym and spa. I literally got hired as a receptionist with kind of like a promise, like, okay, maybe when an esthetician leaves, like we'll let you have a couple of days in the treatment room. Yeah. And I was so excited to get hired at a spa. I was like, okay, like I'll take it.
I'll do anything, right?
I'll answer the phones, I'll make the appointments, but it really helped me learn customer service, how a spa operates, the time like that the estheticians need in between clients, like all that stuff that maybe you learn a little bit of it in school.
But really it's the hands-on experience.
You gotta have the hands-on. So that first year, of course I would get frustrated because I wanted to be in the treatment room, but also I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So I'm really grateful now, looking back 14 years ago, that I, hustled as a receptionist in the spa.
Nice. So at that point, did you build like your own brand yet? Did you have like a logo you're working with? Did you kind of get started yet? Or is just, okay, first year, I'm just going to work for someone and just learn. So that's year one. So what happened after that? Year two?
After year one, they finally get me in the treatment room. I'm not seeing a lot of clients. I'm seeking something else. I wind up getting hired at a medical spa as an esthetician and a medical assistant. Again, anywhere where someone will let me touch some faces. I worked there for 3 years. Okay. Medical spa, learned how peels and microdermabrasion, all those medical spa treatments, which was amazing. And then, of course, in the back of my mind, I want to open my own place. We finally pulled the trigger about year 5 into having my esthetician license.
Oh, okay.
So, I definitely took the long route. Again, when I got my esthetician license when I was 18 years old. So I was very young. But I appreciate having those 5 years of experience before I just jump into being a business owner. Because again, you need to be good at your actual craft of offering facials or whatever your services are before you think about working for yourself. It's a lot more responsibility.
Exactly. Because I think a lot of people that are new to starting a business, they think, oh, you know what? I'm good at, even if they are, good at what they do, they have to consider like, what about marketing? What about sales? What about HR? What about legal, right? And then all the accounting, finance, right? All these other things that, oh, wow, I got to worry about these things. I'm just, good at this technical piece. Then you still got to learn the other pieces too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you're 5, you got your license.
Right.
Did you say you were 18 at that point?
I was 18 when I got my esthetician license. I was 23 when I started Glow Skincare.
Nice. So 23.
23 started Glow Skincare.
Yeah.
Literally, like I said, it's like I wrote down what I needed, how much everything was going to cost, and I even broke it down to like, how many facials do I need to do a week to pay for my rent for my room?
Nice.
And I said, okay, if I can do this, I can survive.
Yeah. So you looked at your break-even points, your cash flow, like what are the numbers? What do I need to do to survive? Now at that point, so you're trained in customer service, right? You're trained in you're esthetician, so the technical skills. At that point, when you first started your business, did you know any marketing? Did you know any sales?
Not really. But the one thing I did have is I'm lucky that I came from, my dad owns a small business. So I came from a family where my dad worked for himself. He always encouraged me to work for myself.
Nice.
I really didn't have any marketing experience at all. But I said, I like people. I'm good at talking to people because, I'm working in the treatment room all the time. I think I can figure out a way.
Yeah.
So I had a few clients from the medical spa actually come start seeing me at my new treatment room. And then I was lucky enough to work in a salon. So I'd step in the front desk and I'd talk to all the hairstylists. I'd talk to all their clients. I'd pick up the phone. I'd really made myself known in the salon.
So you had to get out there and actually talk to people.
Yes, which is hard.
Yeah. You can't be an introvert, right?
No. I mean, you can, but it's easier for me. I'm an extrovert for sure. So it was easier for me to go and just talk to everybody. Yeah.
Even if you're an introvert, you got to get out of your shell. Or, you might need to find a partner that is an extrovert and you do the other side of things too. That's another option.
Totally.
So what was it like, I guess, your 5th year in your journey, but also technically your first year in starting your own business?
Yeah.
What was that first year like?
I didn't know what I was doing.
Hey, no, I don't think anyone does, right? I'm still figuring it out.
But at the same time, I remember one of the first weeks I walked in and I looked at the salon owner and I was like, I will never work for anyone again. I was like, I love working for myself. I love having that challenge, but it was hard,
Yeah.
You have to set your own boundaries, set your own times.
Yeah.
You have to learn how to communicate even better with people because people want to push you around a little bit. Well, why can't you give me a facial at 9:30 at night?
Who doesn't do it?
Right? And that's, we get into situations like that as estheticians.
Yeah.
Where you kind of have to set boundaries with yourself and with other people.
It's almost, I look at it as also respecting yourself and respecting your time, right? So the first year, did you worry about, not having enough sales? Did you worry about, or other things, in the business?
Time. Yeah, make sure I was using, I had to find a product line and make sure I was making enough money and making sure I could not only pay my rent at the spa, but I was paying my rent at home. It was definitely terrifying. But it's a roller coaster. And I think if you want to be a business owner or entrepreneur, you have to enjoy the roller coaster.
Highs are high, lows are low. Just, I look at it too as okay, knowing that life is, as a business owner, is like a roller coaster. We try our best to balance and even things out, knowing that, okay, well, we just did a lot of sales this month, but not get too excited and make sure we have enough savings for year or month 2, month 3. You never know. Maybe a virus might come around and just lock everything down, right?
Yeah.
So and also in the low times when, oh, there's no sales, that's when you double down. Don't sit around and just get angry or frustrated. You just got to keep going and move forward, right?
Yes, that's when you really have to push with the marketing.
Yeah.
Get creative. Start thinking of other outlets where you can find clients.
Yeah, exactly. So now, so the first year, was it mostly word of mouth, the connections that you've made prior? Was that where you got most of your clients, kind of your client base starting off?
Yep. Word of mouth referrals have always been my best clients. The salon was very, very helpful. At the time, over 9 years ago, I did run a Groupon. I would absolutely not recommend that ever.
We're doing Groupon,
but,
okay.
9 years ago, different story.
So,
I did run a Groupon. I did well with that at the time.
At the time. Okay, so if you don't mind, can you tell us why, right? I've heard with Groupon, it devalues your service too much.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Is that the problem?
Yeah, and then those people, they're buying a $20 facial, and then they're just bopping around to other facials, and most of the time those people aren't like regular facial clients, or they're just doing it because it's a deal. They're not looking for someone.
Yep.
And they want you to discount it 50% off, and then they give you 50%. You're making pennies.
Yeah, if that, right? And I look at that too. It's like the client's perspective. They're not looking at you at a premium. They're like, oh yeah, you're the discount $20, Groupon deal, and there's another $20 Groupon deal I'm going to go to next month, right?
And that's what they do. I do have to say, I do still have a few Groupon clients that have stuck with me. Now they pay full price. So
yeah,
it was what it was. I got a nice chunk of money when I did a Groupon, and that was about a year and a half into owning my own business, renting a room, when I decided to take the plunge and then open the big blow.
Okay. So would you say Groupon is good in the beginning just to kind of get some cash flow in, or is it not even worth that?
No.
Not anymore.
Not.
Okay.
No. Again, this is almost 10 years ago, so I feel like it's
and plus, I mean, recently I think I've been looking at their stocks, and Groupon's not doing so hot anyway.
No, they're not doing well. They're not.
It's not a great business model right now.
Remember when I was starting, this is like pretty much pre-social media even.
Yeah.
So it was just a different time of life.
Yeah. I mean, if you go further back, people were using Yellow Pages, right? Yes. So we don't use Yellow Pages anymore.
No. Exactly.
So now a few years in, any highlights in the third year or fourth year, the fifth year?
So many. Okay, so I opened the Big Glow. Now we're at about 6.5 years into my career.
Yeah.
I bring a couple other estheticians to rent rooms from me. At the peak of my room renting, I had a big studio space with like 6 or 7 rooms. I had 13 renters. It was crazy. The business was really blowing up. And then my landlord comes to me and says, you have 3 months to get out or we're doubling your rent.
What? They could do that?
Yes.
Wow, double your rent. It's not even like, oh, you know what? We're going to add 10% or even 20%. No, we're going to double it.
Yeah, double my rent. So I go, okay. And at that time with the 13 renters, things were getting a little too chaotic. I feel like with renters, I didn't have as much control in my business since they were all running their own businesses. Yeah. So I wound up finding a space pretty close to where we were, but it was a major downsize.
Okay.
So I got rid of almost all the renters, brought a couple people with me, and kind of started like fresh.
Yeah. Okay. Nice. Now, I'm just curious, what made you decide to bring on other estheticians? Did you worry that, hey, we're actually competing because you're an esthetician, you're servicing clients? Do you worry about like losing clients and other estheticians kind of taking clients from each other? Do you worry about that?
I never did. I always wanted to kind of like help the rest of the community, uplift the community. Plus, with their rent, it was helping support my big rent.
Okay. Yeah.
I had like estheticians who were waxing. I had estheticians who were doing eyelash extensions. I had,
so they're complementary. And nice.
yeah, I had some manicurists. I had massage therapists. I had a little bit of everything.
Nice. So you moved to the new building, and you brought a few of the estheticians with you, right? What was that like? Was it like kind of pretty much starting over in a sense?
In a sense, it was like a fresh start.
Yeah.
That was almost 4 years ago now. And that's when I really started to hit the social media hard and pretty much rebrand myself. So I decided I don't really want renters anymore. I want employees who I can help, who I can
It's really
train.
part of the team, and you have more control over to your brand, essentially, right?
Exactly, because with the renter, there was just like too many things that I didn't like. You know, they were seeing their clients and acting a certain way, and I wanted a little bit more control over the whole brand of my business.
The whole customer experience, like everyone's like doing their own thing, right?
And my girls still do their own thing. But I really have a specific way that I like, from literally the client walks in the door till that they leave. Everything's very customized, specific, customer service oriented.
Nice. That's good. Now, I'm curious, the move, did you lose a percentage of your client base from the move?
Oh, it's crazy. I mean, I was lucky that we were only less than 2 miles apart from the new place.
Did you think it was the distance that kept your clients with you, or do you think it was something else?
I mean, I think the distance doesn't
obviously,
hurt.
if you move 50 miles away, you're going to lose most of your clients, but 2 miles, even 10 miles away.
Yeah. Well, in LA, remember, people don't like to drive very far.
Oh yeah, true.
But, I had built such good relationships with my clients. They were going to follow me wherever I went. They still are like that, and I am so
There you go. Yep. So that was kind of like a trick question. I want you to try to get you to say that, right? To let others know, like, hey, it's not, like things happen, right? Landlord might double your rent, right? And you might have to move 2 miles away, 5 miles away, but it's that relationship. Yeah.
It is 100% the relationship. Yes, you need to give a good service. You need to perform all the right things, but those relationships with your clients are everything. I mean, I've literally had some of those people follow me my entire career, and they're still with me.
Yeah, because there's always a $20 Groupon waiting, right?
There always is.
Right?
It's not going to be me anymore.
Yeah. So now we're at the new building. You're completely rebranding yourself. So did you get so when you say rebrand, it was a new logo, new website, social media, like
everything. Everything was just like refreshed.
Okay.
Yeah,
now,
better logo, better, focusing on my Instagram, a more I wanted everything. When you see glow, you know what you're getting.
Got it. So did you do any paid advertisement up to that point, or do you do any paid advertisement?
Honestly, not really. I learned that I actually am good at marketing, and that's where I put a lot of my energy into social media, and that worked for me. Yeah. I did do some discounted services for influencers a few years ago, so maybe you could say that's paid marketing.
Okay. Yeah, in a way. Yeah.
And that kind of took
now, was that helpful? Working with influencers, getting, sharing your brand on their channels?
Yeah, some were helpful, some were not.
Okay.
And especially now in 2020, you really have to pick and choose like the right influencer. I was lucky I got a couple really big ones in who I built good relationships with, and that kind of helped me, give me that confidence to again take everything to the next level as far as my branding and putting myself out there on social media.
Yeah, and I'm just curious from an influencer standpoint, did you search for, because your business is geographically limited, right? It's not, so did you look for influencers in the LA area, say, all right, obviously you can't find an influencer in down Florida, and who are they going to send you, right?
Right.
So is that your process? You just went on Instagram, started looking, and like, hey, would you like to promote this? Try us out, give you a break. Like, what was that like?
Yeah, I mean, I reached out to some people in the area, but my first thing that I did, I'm a big fan of, I'm sure a lot of people know her, the Skinny Confidential. She is a huge influencer, and she's very into her skin and into facials. So I actually just did like a cold email. She was living in San Diego at the time, but her and her husband would drive to LA a lot. So I just said, hey, do you want to come in? I'm a big fan. I'd love to treat you. 6 months later, I get an email back from her assistant saying, hey, Lauren's going to be in town. She'd love to come in. So
awesome.
once she came in, and because she has such a loyal following in LA, in San Diego, that the phones just started ringing.
Wow. That's awesome.
It boosted my business. And again, she helped give me, it was, and she helped just give me some confidence, like a little just confidence boost. She also recommended me to reach out to a couple of her other influencer friends that might be helpful. So it was a cold email.
Yeah. And so the key point is, it doesn't happen overnight. It could be 6 months or longer, right? But you just got to be there, got to be ready when that response comes in to follow through with that, and also continuing following through, right? So now you had all this influx of clientele. Were you overbooked at that time then? Was it just like, okay, did you get to a point where you had to like, okay, we're kind of booked and we got to push a little further out? Or
yeah, I was booked. I had another esthetician at the time that was working for me, but of course, because I was on the social media channels, everyone wanted to see me. I wasn't able to push them to my other esthetician, but then I can't see as many clients anymore. And then the business is growing as a whole, so then I have to remove myself even more out of the treatment room to run the business.
Yes. And so do you find yourself now like, okay, I need to focus more on the operations of the business, training estheticians, delivering that experience, because you can't clone yourself, right? You can't be at every, service. So do you find yourself doing that more and more now for your business?
More and more. It's crazy. I mean, I used to, when I was really hustling, I'd see 10 to 12 clients a day.
Yeah.
And I don't recommend that to anybody, but for a minute. Yeah. And now, I mean, before all of this coronavirus happened, I was seeing maybe 5 clients a week, because I had to remove myself out of the business to, like you said, train my estheticians, run all the behind the scenes operations, and do the marketing.
Yeah. And I look at like the return on investment, right? Like your return will be much higher if you can train someone and build your operations to scale. And people talk about this in business a lot. How do you scale your business? It's hard to scale the business owner, but you can scale processes and operations and pieces like that. So I love it.
Yeah, I would tell business owners, you have to throw away your ego. Like, throw it in the trash can and go, okay, I'm a good esthetician, but there's other good estheticians out there that my clients will want to see. Yeah. And I can't do everything. It doesn't matter how amazing I am, I can't do everything.
Yep, exactly. So now where are we in the timeline? Are we 5, so new building, working with influencers. So is that year 6, year 7 in your business?
Yeah, like 6, 7. We're 7. We're at 7 now.
7. All right. Now, anything from year 8 and year 9? Well, this is year 9, right?
This is year 9.
No, we know year 9. What that's like. How about year 8? Like 2019. What was that like?
2019 was great. It was another transitional year. I went through a couple employees, and then I really niched down on exactly the type of esthetician that I wanted to work for me. I found some incredible estheticians who are not only amazing in the treatment room, but they're dedicated, they're hardworking, they're committed to me and the brand, and I appreciate that so much.
Yeah.
So I went through a couple people,
Yeah.
you hire, you fire, all those fun
Yeah.
things.
And that's perfectly normal,
It
and
is.
so pretty much last year, but also you're constantly working on improving. This is like human resources piece, the
Exactly.
HR piece, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Nice,
Yep.
nice. And
So
then all of a sudden, we all know what happened in 2020. Well, it's only beginning, this is the only beginning of 2020. We
it
still
is.
have the rest of 2020 to go.
We do.
Um,
See what happens.
yeah. And thank you so much to, sharing your whole journey, because what this, and I hope the viewers and our audience sees it this way, that there is a process, there is an evolutionary process. It's like, a baby doesn't start running, right? The baby needs to learn the basics first. So just like in a business, you have to learn your basics. Imagine year one, if you talk to that influencer, that might destroy your business, right? In some ways, because all of a sudden you get this influx, right, of clientele in year one. What do you think would have happened, right? You don't have necessarily all the processes in place, maybe not all the product lines, not everything ready. So I wouldn't recommend, I mean, maybe you might say differently, but I wouldn't recommend going to an influencer and just trying to get as much business as you can year one. Figure out your foundation first, get your foundation ready
Exactly.
for scalability. Then when you think you can handle a lot more business coming in and it doesn't hurt your business, then that's when you want to double down on your marketing.
Exactly. Yeah, I would say, just take your time, be patient. I think everyone's in a rush to just get to the top, but you have to have to go through that process. You have to enjoy it. Not always fun, but I think there's no overnight success. There's no magical pill that you can take to get to the top. You just have to put in the time and the energy and the consistency.
Yep. What now on that note, are there things that could speed up the process a little bit more?
I mean, it's hard because I do see a lot of people out there that have really I'm out of school 2 years and now I'm opening my own business. I think that's great, but I do get concerned that they haven't gone through all the things and they're going to be hit with something really hard that they weren't prepared for. I mean, I was with a lot of things, but it was, again, those baby steps. So
how about this? Did you have any mentors when you're growing your business? Did you look at any other programs, or do you look at books or any of that nature, ongoing training? Did you look at any of those things?
Yeah, I mean, I was always looking at online training. Again, I was really lucky that even though my dad doesn't work in the beauty industry, he owned his own business. So I would definitely go to my dad a lot and say, hey, what's going on? Tell me how to handle it. And then Lorena, who I do the podcast with, she was working for me at the time. That's how we met. But we wound up having this relationship where we're always just sharing what was going on and kind of helping each other out. So she was more like a peer, but she was so helpful, and she just brought another set of eyes and ears and a perspective.
I love it. So saying, don't isolate yourself from the world, try to find mentors, right? Try to, and even if they're not in the industry, like for example, like hiring an employee is similar in a lot of different business, industries, whatever business you're going through. So that hiring or firing experience or customer service, those are things that are transferable from business to business. So once you have the business acumen, like those pieces, you can pretty much start any business you want, right?
Great, like a rinse and repeat. I think that's why I've been able to have a successful product line and now a successful podcast. Of course, they're totally different avenues, but it's that rinse and repeat, and I know the process.
Yeah. I love it. Again, thank you so much for your time. How can our viewers, our audience, reach you or follow you?
My website is Glow Skincare LA. So is my Instagram, Glow Skincare LA. I also have my podcast, which is Beauty Biz BFFs podcast on Instagram, and you can find us anywhere podcasts are listened to. Beauty Biz BFFs. I think that's it.
Awesome. And if you didn't catch all that, no worries. It'll be in the show notes. It'll be in the description. It'll be in the resource area. So no worries. So again, thank you for your time. And everyone, I hope you enjoyed the show, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.